Hello and welcome into actually our second Nebraska soccer pregame show that we've had here at Corn-Fed Sports. Last time we did it for the Big Ten tournament, and this time we're going to do it for the NCAA tournament. We felt that it was warranted with Nebraska coming in at number 2 seed and getting to host the game this afternoon. So we're just going to take a quick look at just a couple of headlines. We have actually a former Nebraska soccer player came in, and we had a quick interview with her. So we have some different things other than just the whiteboard and us talking. So we have a kind of a different pregame show here, but we'll just jump in and just kind of preview today's game a little bit. So you got to see the Big Ten championship up close. You got your first experience last week. So why don't you just jump us on in here with our first headline we're going to look at.
Yeah, so like you said, the 2 seed Nebraska facing 15 seed Southeastern Louisiana. How do you see the bracket kind of setting up for Nebraska throughout the NCAA tournament?
The nice part about it is that they're going to get the opportunity to host until they actually would have to go somewhere anyways. And so being the higher seed, they'll have that advantage over some of the other teams. But there's just not a lot of teams that bring the top tier firepower. I mean, even when you get into a Florida State team, there's opportunities for Nebraska. There's some matchups that you see that Nebraska has, and so what they've been able to show, their ability to win close games in conference play, their ability to do a lot of those things. I mean, it really does set up nicely for them to make a run to get to that Final Four, to get to some of those to live out where their seed is at. There are times when you have some overmatched, when you see teams down the bracket that kind of worry you, but Nebraska's got a lot of teams that they should match up with well. Their physicality should match up against a lot of these different teams. So Nebraska, the bracket sets up really nicely with them. Obviously, getting a high seed has a lot to do with that, but the table is laid out for them to make a run.
Mm-hmm. And like you said earlier, finally got to see my first soccer match last week against Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. How big was last week winning the Big Ten championship, beating Iowa? Because you never want to go into the tournament on a loss.
And it's not even just the championship win; it's the fact they're able to have a couple early goals go their way, have some adversity, because it mattered a lot to them. There are other teams that when they go out there and they're playing in postseason tournaments or they're playing in games towards the end of the year that maybe don't necessarily have anything on the line if they've already won a conference championship. Well, it mattered a lot to them, and it's something they wanted as a goal they set out for themselves to get that other Big Ten championship. So to turn around from an early goal in the first game and put up 4 more goals, to turn around from an early goal and put that game out of reach as well, and then to turn around and win a game and hold on and just survive and get an early goal and prove they can do it that way. So they won both ways. They came up with gutsy performances in more than one way in that tournament setting. So it's not just that they won the tournament, it's how they won the tournament too that gives them the confidence to play in some of these type of situations.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen this Nebraska team come back, be resilient the whole year, just the mental toughness they've shown, the physicality that they've shown. What's their biggest strength going into the tournament? The
biggest strength is what they do defensively and how it differs from different teams. And what I mean, and that sounds different from different teams, everybody has their own style, everybody has their own way of playing. But Nebraska just has different kinds of players and a different style of play overall that a lot of teams maybe aren't used to. So what I mean by that is you have a traditional center back in Marissa Hayes who's fast, who's physical, who covers a lot of ground, and does a really good job of winning balls in the box and taking care of a lot of those set pieces. But then you have somebody like Ari Romero, who, as we've talked about before, has that international flair, not just in the experience, but how she plays the game. And she's just that much more experienced, and she can make plays that just frustrate offensive players, but refs just can't find anything wrong with it. And then you have somebody like Emma Stevens, who's patient, who can make saves in the box, but is also really willing to come out, be a part of the possession game, really willing to come out off her line and kind of put offensive players in a bad position. So it's not just that they have skill at those 3 positions, and their outside fullbacks are extremely talented coming forward. They got depth there. They have a sub in Jalen Oderman who can play in any of those back 4 positions. So there's depth. They have a lot of different types of personalities, and they just mix it up well enough that teams just really haven't been able to get a good beat on them. So as they try and use that to their advantage, it's going to be interesting to see. And the other big thing, all 3 of them are seniors. And when you have seniors in that kind of position, you can kind of make sure that you're not just going to get blown away with another team's offense that really sets you up in the game.
So with that being said, who or what will surprise teams this year with how Nebraska's been playing?
It maybe won't surprise teams, but it's something that teams necessarily won't game plan or things that they really can't prepare for. And it's the 2 different looks Nebraska has in that top player. What I mean by that is that obviously you have 2 forwards in J.C. Johnson and Mamie Conroy, but in the traditional shape when teams drop back, when teams are counterattacking, in a lot of situations, one player is going to be pushed further forward. Now, some teams, if they're undermanned in the back, if they play 3 people in the back, there are just a lot of situations where somebody like Mamie Conroy is going to really, with her physicality, with her ability to hold up the ball, is really going to make an impact. But at other times, and what you've seen more this year, but necessarily not isn't a better option, but it's J.C. Johnson's speed coming out of the back, and is that top player. So when she's that last player on the last defender, if she just gets an edge on somebody, they're not going to catch her. They're going to have to take her down from behind. They're going to have to give a penalty kick. There's a lot of those kind of opportunities. So that's the thing that's going to be, it's not just in their game planned offense, but it's when one of those players pushes forward, when one of them is getting on their last defender, when they're counterattacking, when the ball is turned over. Nebraska's going to have a lot of those opportunities where if they can get one person making a run, and you have Mamie Conroy one-on-one in the box, she's going to win that header. She's going to score that goal. Or if Nebraska's able to make a run down the middle of the field on a counterattack, and J.C. Johnson's able to move forward and get a diagonal through ball or something like that and find some space, she's going to outrun, and she has the ability to put it away with. She's great at finishing, has a wicked shot. So there's a lot of things that she can do to stretch the defense, both the players, and so that's kind of their X factor. But for now, we'll wrap up that as much of our technical discussion. I mean, that's as far as we're going to go with really previewing the X's and O's of the game. So we'll have a quick guest appearance after this, and then we'll wrap up the show with the final segment here for our Corn-Fed Sports Nebraska Soccer Pregame. All right, well, we're back here now with the second part of our women's soccer pregame show. Instead of getting me out by the whiteboard and trying to test my soccer knowledge again, we're lucky to have somebody who has a little bit more experience than me. So we got a Nebraska soccer alumni here in Julie Berkshire. So are you excited to see a little NCAA soccer here in Lincoln this afternoon?
I'm really excited, actually, about this game.
All right, sounds good. Well, we'll keep it as simple as possible so you can keep your focus on the game. But as someone who has experience with some of the players who were in the program, when you were leaving the program, as well as playing for Coach Walker and having some experience with at least a couple of the staff members, how exciting is it to just see the hard work that they put in and the hard work that Coach Walker's always put in rewarded in terms of a title and just see the success they're having?
It's so exciting, even as an alumni, although some people probably think we're a little jealous, but we're honestly really excited to see the program doing so well, and I even get recognition outside of, just being an alumni. People ask me, how about those soccer girls? And it's really exciting because I know how hard they work in practice, and John getting the Big Ten Coach of the Year award is awesome to see him just back on top and people, realizing how great of a coach he is.
Yeah, and I think it's funny that, as you've been pointing out to us when we tweet out a picture of the team posing, that you can see the coaches kind of hiding in the background. And so it's always meant a lot for you guys to get, because they're not the ones who will step in and take the recognition. So it's just nice to see them getting some of that recognition. But, just also not just the program right now, winning, but the future of the program and, the athletic department taking that next step and kind of building with the development of a new playing facility and the potential of hosting Big Ten tournaments and some of those kind of events. How much does it mean to you just to see? You guys have had a lot of the facilities already before, but how much the game day facilities and just getting that one cornerstone, that big piece of the puzzle put in place?
I think the game day facilities are definitely be huge for, like you said, maybe hosting the Big Ten tournament, but also just other teams coming here to play us and hopefully getting the crowd out there with us. When we traveled to places like Texas A&M that had a great soccer stadium, I'm sure their facilities weren't as awesome as ours were, because we did have the Hawks and great weight room and great locker room, but they had a ton of fans. They just have a lot of support, and so hopefully that'll bring about a lot more support at the games, and it makes it really intimidating to play against a team like that.
Yeah, and you saw it earlier this year. I got to watch an away game with BYU, and they packed their stadium. They had people standing all around. There's no doubt in my mind that at least a couple of the big games a year they could do that same thing and be pretty. And it's interesting just to see, even in the Big Ten game, you can hear the crowd oohing and aahing during that last game. So that environment would be something really special to see. But just looking at some of the on-field play, I mean, I've tried my best to preview some people on some different things, but there's one thing I wanted to point out, and every time I ask one of the current soccer players about it, they just get this look on their face, no doubt. But I'll ask it to you: how physical is college soccer on this level? I mean, people who think that this is really a no-contact sport. I mean, what do you say to somebody who might think that this is a no-contact sport?
Oh, they're totally wrong. If they think it's a no-contact sport, then you're playing it wrong. The women's college soccer is just so physical. I guess I can't even. We would beat each other up during practices, maybe even more so than it was in the game. We went hard every day in practice, and I know these girls on the team now do too, and that's why they gave you that look. So women's college soccer is very much more physical than men's.
And I think one of the big things, and you saw it on display last Sunday against Iowa, is that opposing teams think that everything Nebraska does should be a yellow card, and they think that everything they're doing is a foul and screaming for it, and they're not even calling anything. I mean, it's just clean play as far as they're concerned. So it's really interesting to see how that is even different at this level that Nebraska kind of has that same mentality that people would expect from other sports. But also just not the physicality of it, but a lot of times it comes down to what's called set pieces, and we're bringing this up because there's a time when set pieces had to be explained in an interview. So, corner kicks, free kicks, and some of those plays, people, I heard it last week when somebody just said, they just scored off on a corner kick, so it was, acting like it's not a big deal or a fluky type chance. That's one of the things that's always blown me away in being around this program is how much emphasis goes into set pieces, how much, that people work on that in practice, and how big that is for you guys. So just how big is it, and how competitive has that always been, and how important it's always been to this program to capitalize on those opportunities?
John has always told his players that set pieces will make or break a game, and he's right. He's completely right. You can win or lose a game off of set pieces just by, being physical enough in the box to score a goal off of a corner or off of a set play outside of the box. Or you can, on the other side, let a goal in by not being physical enough. It's a chance for everyone, in the speed of play, the speed stops. And you get to set up, and it's almost the most physical part of the game, I would say. They're huge. We worked on set pieces every week for hours.
And not just off set pieces. This is another thing that I found is interesting is when you look at some of these games when Nebraska has leads and his team's pouring forward, that's when Nebraska's able to score on the other end is when they do successfully defend set pieces. So, in this kind of environment, do you think that's an aspect people don't really think as much about is how much it just opens the game up when it's kind of end-to-end and open? Is that, you think that amps up in the NCAA tournament environment like this?
Yeah, I don't think people realize that there's a counterattack to a set piece. If you successfully defend one and then you have, your lone forward usually out there at the top, if they're in the right position and then you can get a couple numbers forward, usually the offensive team has already, committed so many numbers forward to the box to score that it's a great opportunity for a counterattack.
Yeah, and that's something we'll look forward to here in these games. Especially when you look at a game like Penn State, when it is one of those environments where everybody's going back and forth, and J.C. Johnson's able to use one of those counterattacks and get a game-winning goal like that. So, those are that's as technical as we get here. So I'm sorry for getting a little bit technical there, but we like to give at least some kind of a pregame. So we'll get you out of here on kind of a fun question, kind of a fun topic. So I got to actually start covering the soccer team while you were just finishing up there, and so you got to play with a couple players that still to this day kind of scare me a little bit. And so you have the Getzman twins and Katie and Colleen Getzman, and then Molly Thomas. There's a couple players around you. Were they kind of, was all you guys just kind of, was that as scary of an environment, as physical environment in practice? You said you kind of hinted at that. Is that something you saw a lot of?
In practice, it was really physical, but I will say that I'm really glad they were on my team when I was playing. Molly's, the nicest person all of them are the nicest people off of the field. Katie and Colleen, went hard in practice, but you wouldn't see them getting yellow card plays during a practice. They were under control, and they wouldn't do that to their teammates.
All right, so they're not out there hip checking people and shoulder checking people. They've gotten past that. I'm a little nervous sometimes. I see them. I got my camera walk by, so it's safe to walk by them. I'm not going to get so off the field. They don't have that same.
They wouldn't do it to me because I'm their teammate, but I don't know about you. All
right, so I'll watch out even with my camera. So hopefully, ladies, I'll stay out of your area. I promise. But thanks for coming in. Thanks for taking part in our pregame show. We have just one little segment here to wrap it up coming back, but for now, that's all.